What's this guy doing? Where's he going? You know what? I'm gonna do something to his car, you know. Yeah. Last episode I was talking about my top 5, dead or alive, in hip hop. Um, if you want, you can check out the prior video where I list my I'll go through my list from 5 to 3. Um, I won't mention who they are. Go and check it out. And now I'm on my top 2. That's it, top 2 in hip hop, dead or alive. Before I even talk about my top 2, man, there's some honorable mentions that I have to mention. Just have to, because I feel like um, there are so many rappers that get overlooked, especially during. Let me get a bit. Especially during the golden age of hip hop. Especially during that period from, I would say, for me, I would say the golden age was 93 to about 98. Yeah, I would say from 93, yeah, 90, 93, 92, 93 to 98. That was like, what, a 5-year period of banger after banger after banger after banger after banger, music wise, man. Alright, where am I gonna go? Just cruise up here. Yeah, banger after banger after. Actually, you know what? Let me go casino. I ain't been casino for a minute. Let me go casino. Yeah, banger after banger after banger, music wise. And before I give you my top 2, you probably have a fair idea of the direction I'm gonna go to, because these 2 artists are always mentioned. If not in the top 2, definitely in the top 5 when it comes to hip hop. But first honorable mention I've got to talk about. I've got to talk about Mobb Deep. And I know that they're a group, so I guess they can go in another category. But I feel like I need to mention them even here, because I feel like they came with a production quality. Let's just talk about their production quality, that for me is up there with Dr. Dre. The way that Havoc, yeah, can produce banger after banger, yeah, beat after beat, banger after banger, is crazy. The only one I know to do that is Dr. Dre, yeah. And then just when you look at Shook One's uh, survival of the fittest, um, temperatures rising. Hold on, I don't know if I can come in here. I don't want to get slapped copyright for music, and the casino is playing music. I'll have to do this later another time. What's this guy doing? Where's he going? You know what? I'm gonna do something to his car, you know. Yeah. I'm gonna bomb up his car. I'm gonna do it in a way you can't see it though. We're gonna sit here and wait for him. Yeah, so Shook One, Survival of the Fittest, Hell on Earth. I'm only 19, but my mind is old. Man, R.I.P. to Peter Prodigy. The name just slipped my mind for a second. Big R.I.P. to him. Yeah, man. So for me, they need to get an honorable mention. Another artist who needs to get an honorable mention is AZ. And if you don't know of AZ, go check out just YouTube his name. AZ, he did a lot of work with back in the day with Nas, him, AZ, Nas, and Foxy had a little group called The Firm. They did if you check out a tune called Microphone Tap, that's I think Dr. Dre drops a beat on that one. Firm Biz is another one that comes to mind. AZ needs to get an honorable mention. He's Sugar Hill is another one that comes to mind. No, not Sugar Hill. Is it Sugar Hill? What is it? AZ. Sorry, I have to look at it at the same time. There's so many. Yeah, it's called. Yeah, it's called Sugar Hill. AZ featuring Miss Jones. It's called Sugar Hill. So guys, I'm just waiting for this guy to come out of the casino because I got a little present for him. And then let's see if it yeah, I got a little present for him, but I'm waiting for him to come out of the casino and come in the car. So let's see what happens. So yeah, so we got AZ as an honorable mention. Who else needs to get an honorable mention? Goodness, so many people. I would say, let me think now. Jada Kiss needs an honorable mention. If you guys haven't, he did a versus battle with he did a versus battle where he did a freestyle of Biggie's Who's Such a that's it, Dipset. He did a versus battle with Dipset, and he did a freestyle. And when I say that freestyle was bananas, it killed Dipset. That one freestyle alone, they went back to back on many tracks. But the freestyle alone, not even in terms of his cadence, his flow, but just the energy he brought to that. I know it sounds weird to say this, but it was almost, and I'm not saying he's anywhere near Biggie's level, but his energy, stage presence, reminded me of Biggie. It did, and it was obviously a Biggie track, but it just he just took over, and then that mic drop at the end killed it. So the Locks period, but Jada in particular needs to get a mention. Obviously Snoop needs to get a mention. Who else needs to get a mention? So Snoop, when is this guy coming out, man? I've got a present waiting for you. Still there, right? Yep. Let me see if he actually comes out. I'm just gonna hang back and wait. Yeah. So I'm gonna hang back and wait. Yeah, so I mentioned Method Man, but I had to give him a spot. Meth needs an honorable mention. Ghostface Killer, Raekwon, the list goes on. Mace needs to get an honorable mention. Cameron needs to get an honorable mention. Goodness, man. Common needs to get an honorable mention as well. Buster, honorable mention. Yeah, man. It was. I feel like that golden age of hip hop, we were spoiled, man. We were spoiled in terms of music, and we never realized at the time. I think for me anyway, I just thought, okay, it's only gonna get better and better, and obviously there've been many debates on the state of hip hop since I would say the early 2000s. There we go. Jump in. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Booyah! Let's go. I know he's gonna come for me. Let's bounce. Alright. So you know what? Where am I going? Actually, I know I'm gonna go. Let me go to my, check out my lab. My glass lab. Yeah, so, the state of hip hop, people have been, you know, since then, but we never realized how blessed we were during that period, you know. My word. Uh-oh. No, you don't. You will not have me in chains. I am a free man. I'm not gonna bait up my my glass lab when I got cops on me. So yeah, we'll just get rid of these. Let me get rid of the 5-0. What other honorable mentions? If I've missed anybody, by the way, please drop in the comments honorable mentions of. I know I've missed many. I already know that I've missed a lot. But if I've missed any that come to your mind, just drop a comment in terms of the artists that I've missed during that golden era. There we go. Yes. You done know, Kingpin. You see me? So if I've missed anybody in terms of oh dear. Uh-oh. Car is wrecked. Actually that looks quite cool in our doors actually. Rugged. Yeah, so if I've missed anybody, please just drop a comment in terms of artists that you feel like really impacted the hip-hop music during that kind of 90s era, early 2000s. After that, I feel like, in my opinion anyway, hip-hop took a turn from the worst. I feel like, you know, and no hate to anyone who loves trap music, but trap music was the beginning of the end. That's all I will say. It was the beginning of the end. Yeah, as far as hip hop is concerned. But in any case, alright. Let me put this away. Yeah, that was fun actually. Yeah, so I'm thinking about honorable mentions. Obviously Ice Cube needs to get an honorable mention. Anybody that wants to check out his battle with Common. I think it was a one tune called No Vaseline. So yeah, Ice Cube, he's just a legend anyway in his own right. So he has to get a mention. You know what? Let me leave that. I don't want to get my my business raided, and if I get it raided, I'd rather have nothing in it. So I'm gonna leave that where it is. So yeah, let's talk about my top two. Let's talk about the top two, and I feel like it's weird because my top two has kind of gone back and forth. It's never stayed the same, and I feel like my top two could change just because of the mood that I'm in and what kind of music what kind of mood of music I'm feeling at that particular time. And I would say, I'm gonna do it this way because it's gonna be obvious. So my top two are, of course, the notorious B.I.G., Biggie, and Tupac. They're in my top two. Now, in what order? That is the question. Because on one hand, at the time, you know, during that beautiful time, hands down, Biggie. If you were to ask me who was my top two, Biggie would have been front and center, number one, King of New York, no questions asked. And I feel like I only started to appreciate Pac's music after he died. Actually, I thought, you know, obviously, you know, I can't say I was a big fan of Pac at the time, you know. And I feel a lot of it was obviously, you know, one thing I always got some money to put in the bank. I don't want to get jacked. One thing I always respect. One thing I always respect with Pac is the deepness of his music. But at the time, man, I was what, 16, 17, 18, that kind of age there. And I weren't really that kind of socially conscious guy where, you know, I understood everything that was going on in the world. Obviously, there were some things that I understood, but the way Pac would rap, it was at a level where it wasn't just I mean, it wasn't just the beats were hot. Don't get me wrong, but he was more than just the beat. And you know, some music, they just get away with having a hot beat, but when you check their lyrics, they're talking absolute crud. Yeah. And for me with Pac, his beats were obviously he has some you know, less deep music, and we know what they are. You know, Hit 'Em Up comes to mind. Other tracks come to mind as well. But I feel like if you look at his album, The World, I feel that came out in '94. Oh, sorry, my bad. So yeah, 93, 94, that album came out. And at the time, I could say I had probably more. Oh, we got a telephone hit. Alright. Exactly. Let me see what's going on.
Man, this should be a wholesome ass day of work. The target is some backwards ass judge that changed the sentences for anyone who offers her a fur coat or a stack of fucking cash. She put a lot of innocent people in jail. Some fucking people I even know. And tomorrow, she's ruling on a big fraud case against one of our partners at Lawn Bank. The whole world knows he's guilty as fuck, so a bunch of our clients are out there betting against Lawn Bank stock. Only I just got wind the lady judge been paid to throw the fucking case out. And if the defendant walk and the stock don't tank, our clients stand to lose a lot of fucking money. So I say we bring some karma to this Ebo ass bitch. Take her out, and our clients will give us a nice kickback when justice take its course.
Bet.
Look, she's at the golf course right now, playing around to celebrate in advance. Your outfit should still be at the clubhouse. I suggest you go pay her ass a visit.
Alright, let's do that. Alright, let's go.
Sometimes I need a good laugh, so I go to the split sides and see some.
So walk with me as we take this person out. So yeah. Me Against the World was probably, I think if I can say there's tracks from Pac off the top of my head that I just dig with. I F with those tracks. Like, for example, you got Keep Your Head Up, and that was early Pac. That was like 91, 92 Pac. You know, so obviously Dare Mama, Temptations, Hit 'Em Up, of course. I Ain't Mad at Ya. Ambitions of a Rider. Nothing to Lose. Those are the tracks off the top of my head that back then I was like, yeah, I'm feeling those tracks. Where's the entrance to this place? I was like, yeah, I'm feeling those tracks. How do I get into this place? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's dress for the occasion. Put on some golf attire. Yeah, so I feel like here we go. So, oh, my bad. My fault. Let's go and find this judge. Oh, here she is. Let's kick her ass. Oh no! And they got me. They got me. Alright, it's time to go anyway. Can I borrow your car? Please? I'm in a hurry. Thank you. Time to go. Uh-oh. Thank you. What was the bonus? Ah, I forgot to do the bonus. That's alright. That's cool. Alright, so anyway, what I was saying is, I feel like I appreciated Pac's music more when he passed than I can say when he was still alive, and I know that. But with Biggie now, oh my days.
Spending $200
For me, I feel like, you know, and I know that everyone has their preference, but for me, I feel like, how can I put it this way? There's a, let me just put on, get my presser. Biggie's flow is bananas, and at the time when you know, I still remember, as I said, hearing One More Chance remix for the first time, and my days, man. I think that song, I would say from '95. Even no, I can't even lie, man. Even today. Sorry, 1 minute. Just change my headphones. Yeah. Even today, I would say that when that track drops in a club, the energy is just different. The energy is just different, and I feel like his wordplay, for me, his wordplay is just bananas. The only thing that counts against Biggie, really, change his clothes. The only thing that counts against Biggie, really, that I would say that maybe doesn't put him, there we go, maybe doesn't put him as a, you know, up there, even though he's up there, don't get me wrong, but he never had the opportunity to battle with anybody. And I know that we can see a lot of clips from when he was younger, and he was tearing people apart on the street corner, you know, and I know it sounds weird to say this, but because, you know, the tension was so high back then between him and Pac, and when Pac was throwing shot after shot after shot, you know, and you know, Hit 'Em Up was just is now, you know, was and still is a classic. And I know, you know, at the time it was wise, it was wisdom to not retaliate in kind, because that would have just been yeah, I don't think they would have. I think, you know, what, Pat died in '96, Biggie in '97. They could have easily have died earlier than they did, and they died early. But it could have been earlier if Biggie had responded. But my issue, not issue, what I would have liked to have seen, and I know it sounds it doesn't, you know, what I would have liked to have seen, and even though it would have been dangerous for him to do, would have been to have a toe-to-toe battle with Pac. Because I feel like while you know, while Pac is venomous, and just not even just in what he says, his energy, man, Tupac's energy, and the venomous way that he spits, where Biggie's just more laid back, but he will spin you around and make you. So he could easily spin you around and make you dizzy just by his words. Yeah, his wordplay, the way that his metaphors, his similes, his syntax, everything. Yeah, and I feel like that's the only thing that, in my opinion, he didn't have the chance to do. You know, Nas had the chance to do it. You know, even Cannabis had the chance to do it, and he did it way early than he should have done it, because he was still making a name for himself. But then he found himself in a battle with a legend. Yeah. Obviously, Pac threw the first shot, and as I said, there's some shots that are just, you can't respond to, because if you respond to them, you're literally let me see if I can find some unassuming targets to have a play about. Yeah, there's some people that you just can't throw shots at, because how do you respond to Hit 'Em Up? So let me get in a car and drive. How do you respond to Hit 'Em Up, really? You know, what could you say? And I mean, listen, Biggie probably had you know, I could just imagine him having like proper notes. Sometimes I don't know, actually even notes in his head, because Biggie never really wrote rhymes down. Biggie would just like off the top of his head spit.
You're through to your garage. You need me to bring you a ride?
Thank you.
I'll bring it to you.
Just off the top of off the top of his head. You know, he could destroy you. So could you imagine? You know, and I'm sure he had stuff ready for Pac if the opportunity presented itself. And on a couple of occasions, you know, he did throw some. I'll get rid of this. He did throw some. How can I put it? A couple of jabs. Yeah, if you're thinking about it from a boxing context, they weren't uppercuts. They were just like, you know, at the beginning of a boxing match, and the boxers are feeling out the match. You know, Brooklyn's Finest was on one example where I think one of the lines were gotta go because it's getting too hot. If Faith, meaning Faith, if Faith Evans had twins, she would have had 2 packs. Get it, 2 packs. And he said that because obviously in Hit 'Em Up, Pac was talking about, oh, you know, you know, your wife or your I think they were engaged at the time, your fiance is you know, basically sleeping with me, and she's meant to be your girl. And there was a provocative picture, I'll never forget it. I don't know where they were. It looked like they were at a club or somewhere, and you had Tupac's arm around Faith Evans at the time, and that at that time, you know, everyone made the assumption because it was just like, wow, is he bringing receipts? Are these now receipts that he's bringing to the table? But I believe it was just literally a honest photo pose as far as Faith was concerned, and there was nothing in that. But obviously, when you're in a battle, man, you need to hit people where it hurts, you know, and then you need to do that. 1 second. Yeah, so that was basically that was I would say a tame response. And obviously I feel like at the time, oh, what's this guy doing? Let me follow him. Where you go? Where's he going? Let's see if I can put something in his car. Actually, I'll wait for him to come out. Yeah, so obviously at the time I feel like Diddy at the time was trying to calm things down, and I believe he advised Biggie not to retaliate, and I think that's the reason why he didn't. But I'm sure everything in him, you know, wanted to spark Pac for what he said. So so that's the only thing I would say I would have loved to see Biggie in a proper battle, because I feel like if you're gonna call yourself a king of anything, you need to have battle scars, man. You can't just be, you know, a lot of people today are self-proclaimed kings. They want to say I'm a king of this and a king of that. And if you're a king of anything, you need to have battle scars, because nobody gives someone a crown for free. No one gives anybody a crown for free. If you want that crown, you gotta take that crown. And if you're gonna take that crown, you know you're gonna be up for a fight. It's not gonna be ain't no one giving up their crown. You know, when Jay-Z tried to proclaim himself and went at Nas, as I said before, you know, he knew what he was doing, and he knew that he had to know. Nas wasn't going to give him that crown. Nas wasn't just going to sit back and allow a man to you know, cuss him out like that. You know, he wasn't gonna allow him to cuss him out like that with no repercussions. And Nas would be like, nah, man. And Nas wasn't even trying to call himself the king of anything. You know, at the time, Nas was just nasty Nas. He wasn't like trying to say, you know, I'm a king of this, I'm a king of that. But because somebody stepped up and wanted to take the crown, and Nas had to basically discipline him, Nas took that crown by default, because there was no after Biggie and Pac had passed, there was a big vacuum, there was a power vacuum in terms of, okay, who's gonna proclaim themselves. And for me, that's why Nas will always get third place, you know, because he you know, to be honest, one could argue, because you know there was a time where things were a little bit how can I put it, tense between Nas and Pac, and one could argue, okay, well, if Nas and Pac went into a beef, who would win? Personally, I would put Tupac hands down all day, every day. And Nas is nice with the pen. He's very nice with the pen. But Pac is just dangerous, man. Pac's mom had him reading big boy books when he was a child. Pac, you know, everyone marvels at, you know, Pac was only early 20s when he was like, you know, basically the king of hip hop, really. And he wasn't even, he was still, for lack of a better word, just a few years out of his teenage years, really. He wasn't even like, he never even got a chance to even hit his 30s to have any kind of level of, big man maturity. And the reason he was that because his mum basically got him reading books every day. Yeah, this guy was educated beyond his years because his mum, who was a Black Panther, basically made sure that her son would be very educated. Yeah, but going back to who's my one and who's my two, whew, it's a hard one, man. But if I'm gonna make a proper decision, and make it not based on alright, I'm gonna be honest, personal bias wise, I'd give it to Biggie. Yeah, because personally I feel like just from a just looking at from a technique point of view, he was hands down far superior. However, there were things about Tupac that Biggie couldn't emulate or compete with. And he mentioned one of these things, and actually, if you check out the Vibe magazine interview, it's on YouTube with Tupac. He mentions this. He says, "I just come out of prison, and I produced an album. All Eyes on Me, and that album sold 5 million records. Yeah, and you have to remember, I think Pat came out of prison end of '95. I think it was like October '95. Yeah, All Eyes on Me came out in February '96. He'd already outsold Biggie, right? And he said in the interview, Biggie's got everyone in New York on his album. He's got everyone. He's got 100 different remixes of his album, and everyone in New York, and he's barely touching 2 million sold records. Yeah, and I'm just out. My homeboy just beat a case, referring to Snoop. Which he had a court case which he bust back in '95 as well. We're convicts and we're outselling the supposed king of New York. Yeah, and we're just getting started. I think he said something like that or around those words. I can't remember word for word, but that was the essence of what he was saying. And he's right. When All Eyes on Me dropped, it was the first ever double CD. Yeah, no one had dropped a double CD before. Nobody. And this guy come out of prison and has created enough content, had created enough music to fill up double CDs. Everyone knows about Tupac's work ethic and how he lived in the studio. Because I feel like he, deep down, he realized, well, he definitely appreciated the value of time because he'd just come out of prison. So his level of motivation was on 100. Yeah. Biggie was still at the time, he was doing a lot of featured or guest music. You'll find him on Shaq's Can't Stop the Rain. You'll find him on, obviously he was at the time also producing his own group, Junior Mafia. You'd also find him on we find him on a lot of other people's music. Everyone at the time wanted to welcome him, so he was busy with that. But he didn't have that drive that Tupac had, because Tupac came out of prison angry and he had a lot of things to say. So yeah, man. So I feel like just for the fact that the man can come out of prison and outsell him. And you have to understand, yeah, while Pac was in prison, you know, bare mans were clowning him and talking about the fact that, you know, people were having their wicked way with Tupac in prison. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So so he's, you know, if you think about the Source Awards in '95, Pac wasn't there. He was in prison. Yeah. And I think only out of everybody, only either, I think it was either Snoop or Dre mentioned Tupac's name and like, you know, gave him a little bit of honor. Where everybody at? Gave him a little bit of props. Yeah, gave him a bit of props. Yeah. So Pac was like, okay, everyone's running joke on my name. Watch when I come out. Watch what's gonna happen when I come out. That's basically what he was on. He was on some revenge type ish. Proper revenge type ish. Yeah. And he came out so Biggie basically had no problem in starting or basically I don't think he intended to start it, but he started a beef what became the first hip hop coastal beef, where everyone knows it as, you know, East Coast, West Coast. Yes, we had a lot of media at the time that were fanning flames, yeah, and basically making a bad situation worse, because the situation was only between Pac and Bad Boy, I would say, yeah, because of the quad shooting back in '94, where he got shot at Quad Studios. Everybody and anybody that was in New York was there, including Biggie, including Puff, and all of that. And you know, as far as he was concerned, he's like, well, if you guys proclaim yourself to be the king of New York, you should know who tried to touch me, yeah. And if you don't know, then you must be covering for somebody, or even covering for yourself. So that was that basically. And I feel like, in my opinion, as I said, personally, I would say I would have put Biggie at number one. But for my opinion, I feel like one of the key factors, well, two key factors for me, is how did you win your crown? You know, if you're calling yourself the king of anything, you know, who did you come up with? Who did you battle? And who did you actually overcome? That's one criteria. Another criteria is, were you able to transcend your art form? So again, when I say transcend your art form, if you look at Muhammad Ali, he was able to transcend his art form. You know, he was a boxer, but he was more than a boxer. You know, he basically became such a cult figure in the world because of what he stood for and what he was about. You know, and his insistence on civil rights and all of that stuff. Could you say Pac transcended hip hop? I definitely think you could, because Tupac wasn't just about, you know, as Biggie put, money, clothes, and girls. Yeah, he was about trying to uplift his people. He was very, very socially aware of the inequalities that were basically around him. Yeah. And wanted to do something to make a change in that direction. And a lot of his music, and not even just music, but a lot of his actions, the things that he was doing, the speeches that he gave, the plans that he had to, you know, you have to understand his mother was a Black Panther, so he would have been heavily influenced in terms of trying to bring positive change to black people in the hood. So I feel like when Pat passed, it was reminiscent of, and I can't really, I ain't that old. I wasn't around them times, but I would say it had the same feeling of when Malcolm X died or when Martin Luther King died, and that's probably the best um, compliment you could give him. He was I wouldn't say he was at that level, but he was definitely on his way to being on that level of having impact. So for that reason, and for the reason of being able to um, basically win his stripes, because as I said, man, hip hop is a competitive sport, and at the end of the day, he threw the first punch, and 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 he didn't get a response. There was no response, and someone might argue, well, it's a bit unfair to judge him that way because you could only really judge him if Biggie did have a proper response of and a very very deliberate intentional reply to it. So you can't really judge it. But you know what? You can only fight what's in front of you. And at the end of the day, Tupac fought what was in front of him, and he didn't get a response back. And you can't blame him for that. You can't blame him for that. Yes, was it wise for Biggie not to respond? Absolutely. Especially when especially how tense those that era was. Yeah, especially. But as I said, you can only beat what's in front of you. And once Hit 'Em Up was released, there was no response or no um there was no response in kind. Yeah, there were a couple of Sublime tracks, but nothing of that heat that Tupac brought. Nothing like that. So in conclusion, my top 5 are as follows. Number 5, Cannabis. Number 4, Redman. Number 3, a joint number 3 between Nas and Eminem. Number 2, Biggie. And number 1, Tupac Shakur. And that's the list. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if you don't agree with me. Let me know what your list would look like. And yeah, man, I'm happy to chop it up with you in the comments. And let's see who you're, let's see if we can find some kind of consensus on who the top 5 of hip hop is. Much appreciate you rocking with me. It just don't seem like the public lobby is as bad as I first experienced. There was a couple of madness moments, but nothing too bad. So yeah, appreciate you rocking with me. Uppercut that subscribe button, give that like button a little slap for me, and yeah, man, much love, and I'll hit you on the next one. I think the next one I want to talk about R&B because I feel like that's a dying genre of music in today, and I wanna talk about the golden age of R&B. Alright, peace, we out.